Welcome back to the channel, everyone, and today we're going to talk about the BSA Goldstar and cover some of the colours, variants that are available, and we'll talk about some of the optional extras that BSA have brought to the public. So I did a video on this very topic for the Royal Enfield Meteor, and I think it's quite helpful because you can just watch one video and get an idea of the different coloured bikes. I'll show some B-roll of the bikes in different colours so you can get an idea of what they look like. And rather than having to trawl through the internet, you can look at the options, look at the colours and get an idea of what your bike might look like if you were to go ahead and order a BSA Goldstar. Okay, so without further ado, the entry level bike for the BSA Goldstar, almost said BSA Meteor then, I'm getting confused. The entry level bike for the BSA Goldstar is Highland Green. So if you opt for a Highland Green model, you'll be paying 6,500 of the Queen's English pounds. You'll have a bike that has a base green coat on the tank with sort of a teardrop silver insert and a gold or yellowy pinstripe, which is a lovely combination, to be honest. I mean, green and yellow, think of Lotus, is a British racing sort of heritage combination of colours, which I think looks absolutely fantastic. The fender or mudguard, depending on when you're a viewer from the US or here in England, is going to be a solid green as well. So the green, it looks a little bit like the background behind, and obviously I really like that green. I wouldn't have painted the office in that green if it wasn't something I really like myself. When I was down on the list to have a BSA Goldstar, I ordered it in Highland Green. Highland Green is the cheapest at 6,500. I think personally it looks the best, and also it's one of the least popular colours, so you're going to have a shorter waiting list on those bikes if you order Highland Green. It's got loads of pluses. So for me, you can just end the video there, that's my favourite one. But we'll come on to the middle tier of bikes, retailing at £6,800, and those bikes are Insignia Red, Midnight Black, and also Dawn Silver. Now Insignia Red's quite a good shout for the BSA Goldstar. I've seen quite a few reviews where the bikes ridden have been Insignia Red, and I think it really does suit the BSA. It's the same colours as the BSA logo, so obviously that big badge ties in with the red theme. The red also contrasts quite nicely with the other materials in the build, so you've got a sort of satin brushed exhaust. The cylinder head is those fins, that fin stack there is also a sort of gunmetal-y grey. So the red really contrasts well against that. It's a classic red, almost like a cherry red. I don't want to say it's like this because this is a bit too garish, but it's more of a rich red. So Insignia Red for me would be a great option. Dawn Silver, the bike I test rode was Dawn Silver, and I'd be a big fan of this colour as well. I think with a silver it doesn't have as much character on its own, but it does reflect the environment really well. So when I was in the US back in 2019, I hired a Mustang, and I thought, oh no, it's silver. So when I went to the rental place, it was silver. But when I parked the car up, the sun was setting and I had the mountains of Arizona in the background. I had this amazing reflection just popping out of the bodywork of the car. I think that having a bike in silver, particularly this kind of minky off silver, like Dawn Light as they named the colour scheme, I think it looks really, really good. I'd probably go, if I wasn't going for Highland Green, I'd probably go for maybe the silver or maybe Insignia Red. If you're not choosing those two, or the middle tier, you've got the option of Midnight Black, which is also quite nice. I probably wouldn't go for the black myself. I just think an older retro bike needs a retro colour, because don't forget in the 70s and 60s bright colours were quite fashionable, and then it came around to the 90s when it was all greys, blacks, silvers, and colours go through phases, right? But back in the day when BSA Goldstar was out, it's quite popular to have bright colours on bikes and cars. So I'd probably go for the red or the silver even, not the black. Okay, so final tier, if you go for the Legacy Edition, and you can hear in the name for that particular tier, you've got then that more honest, more genuine link to the original Goldstar. So they've tried to replicate the legacy of the original bike in the paintwork. You've got a lot more chrome, you've got a chrome finish, so it's called Silver Sheen Legacy Edition. I probably won't go for this because it's 7,000. I know a lot of you will probably who've ordered the BSA probably have selected silver sheen, go the whole hog. But for me, it's not worth the extra 500 that you're paying over Highland Green. It's also going to have the longest wait time, and we don't know how much production the BSA factory, how much capacity the BSA factory has to ramp up and deploy these models. So you'll be waiting a longer time, it's more expensive. I just think gloss paintwork just looks better on these bikes. Okay, so that brings us on to part 2, which is the optional extras that are available for the Goldstar. Just looking at the screen here to remind myself on what they've brought out. So in Motorcycle Live 2022, they showed off a demonstrator fully equipped and optioned up. You had, most obviously, soft luggage, which looks really good. It's sort of a combination of leather and wax cotton, presumably, to keep the water out. Leather straps, leather sides of the panniers, but the body of the luggage is made of cotton or cloth material, which I think looks great. It's in keeping. Royal Enfield did a bit of an odd thing with the Meteor and brought out a bike with a plastic, looks like a little toiletry bin, which you strap to the side of it, and it just didn't really work with the classic look of the bike for the Meteor. BSA have done it right first time, got these lovely looking side panniers, and then they've got a cylindrical bag, like a roll bag, which goes on the pillion seat, and then straps come over the top of that and secure it to the bike. I don't know how secure that would be for riding about, you know, actually in real world conditions, but it looks cool. I'd probably go for just the side panniers if it was me, and just accept I'm going to have a little bit less carrying capacity. The other thing they've got is a tank bag, which is also black cloth with a little bit of leather or leather material as the sort of highlights, like the flap, the straps, etc. And that's probably a 1.5 litre capacity, maybe 2 litres. You could fit a phone and a wallet in there, maybe a map, something like that. So those are nice to see. It's nice to see that BSA have come with the bike and actually thought through some nice optional extras to go with it. The other things that we've got are engine bars. So if you think the Royal Enfield Meteor had sort of quite wide, I think the 70-80 centimetre protrusion of the engine guard out, almost to protect your legs if you were to tip while on the bike. And the Royal Enfield Interceptor's got very small, must come out 20 centimetres or so, sort of stubby engine guards just to protect the bike if you were to drop it, maybe when you're moving around off the bike. BSA have gone for sort of in the middle size. It's mounted on the bottom engine bracket or very close to that on the frame of the bike, and then it comes up almost like a rectangle, slightly tapered forward, which is kind of a nice look, tucks in behind the exhaust, the single exhaust header as it comes out of the single, and then they obviously meet in the middle behind the exhaust but in front of the cylinder. So it looks really good. Other things that we saw on the bike are some bar end mirrors, which they actually had mounted in the downward position, so you just sort of look down there rather than having it up on a stalk, kind of looking very old school. Looks a little bit cooler to have a little smaller mirror just mounted down there on the bottom of the handlebar. Don't know what that would be like for visibility, but just purely for the aesthetics, I think that's a nice optional extra. Other things to mention, they had a small tinted fly screen, very similar to the one available on the Royal Enfield Interceptor. Although one thing I do like about the BSA fly screen, I'm just looking at the picture just to remind myself, it actually mounted very neatly, so it's tucked in behind the headlight mount, so you don't have all of these aluminium rods or steel rods everywhere where you've got to strap to the fork headers and everything. Just looks a bit of a mess, doesn't it, to have a big windscreen. This is a very small screen, small mount, just to protect your instrument cluster from debris and flies when you're riding around in the summer. So the fly screen looks good. And finally they had some nice upgraded levers, brake and clutch, just to give that more premium feel. They're slightly stubbier than the big sort of silver aluminium cutlery that sticks out of your handlebars. Kind of just ergonomic, just nice looking. You can sort of tap with your couple of fingers. Just look more premium, so I'm really glad they've made that available. As far as prices for these components, they haven't been released yet. I would probably suggest that the prices would mirror Royal Enfield, the main competitor, so you can imagine the engine bars to be under £100. I'd be surprised if they were over 100. Hopefully they'll be 70, 80, maybe even £90. Fly screen should be 50 or 60. The pannier system, it's not aluminium hard case, which are generally quite expensive. It probably will be, I would hope, under 300, maybe 250. Anything cheaper than that will be a bonus for what I think it's worth, having seen the quality of it. The brake levers and bar end mirrors probably going to be, what, 50, 60 for the brake levers, one of each you can imagine, 25 each. And then bar end mirrors probably going to be 60 quid, aren't they? So it's not too much if you were to spec up your bike. You can make it look really good, just with a few little trinkets to add on. Alright guys, thanks for watching. I'm going to end the video there, and I hope you found it interesting. Please let me know what you think about the colour options and the optional extras in the comments below. I always read the comments, try and reply to as many as I can. But yeah, let me know what you think, and I think the BSA looks great. They've done a nice job with the colours and the optional extras. So I'll leave it there and see you in the next one.